our Pump Up podcast, where we come to pump up, lift up, and inspire. I am your host this morning, Wendy Inspire, and today we are going to talk about the power of the pen. We're going to talk about the writing and publishing process, and we're going to talk about staying motivated and inspired from start to finish. Now, villagers, make sure you grab your pen because you're about to get some nuggets. You're in for a real treat. I'm so excited to let you all know that I have special guests here with us, here in the Happy B&B Village, Mr. Marc Reklau. Marc, he is a coach, he is a personal development expert, and he is a national and international bestseller. Marc has sold over 200,000 books in multiple languages. So we are so excited to have you in the village, Marc. Say hello to the villagers.
Hello, villagers.
Yes, welcome.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for this great introduction.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do for everyone around the world. Now, I want to jump right in because we have people already tuning in and they're excited to connect with you. Now, your mission, Marc, is to empower people to create the life they want and give them the resources and tools to make it happen. Now, in your book aligns many, many resources and tools to help us live a successful life. What other options do you offer personally to help the village live a more successful and prosperous life?
No, actually, most of it is my books. I wrote it all down in my books. I wanted to say it because the story behind the books is that when I did my coaching training, I noticed that there are many exercises, and we talked it before a little bit offline, that work, they are proven to work, but people don't do them. So when I did that coaching training and I applied all these things to me, because I said, okay, at least I can do it, right? If I'm going to be a coach, at least I have to do the exercises. And then already small, great things started to happen. And that's where the idea grew to share it, to really say, people, look, you want a better life in 5 years and 2 years? Start doing these exercises and it will happen. And now I can say it because it's been 9 years since I've written this book. I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I'm doing the exercises and my life has changed totally. So just to give you an idea, 9 years ago, I was jobless when I wrote the book, and I made $800 of jobless welfare a month. And now many days I make $800 a day in book sales. So it's just mind-boggling. And for me, it was books. For everybody who listens to us, it can be something else, and that's okay. But once you have this goal, once you have this, first it's a dream, I think. And also one of my favorite quotes when I started was, when you put a date on a dream, it will become a goal. And then when you have it as a goal, then you can go towards it, right? And can make this dream come true, following your goal. So yeah, that's mostly what I propose. I'm the example. Everything, when I write books, you have seen I write many books. So everything in my books is from personal experience. So for example, if I write about productivity, I would read 10, 15 books on productivity, but then I would also apply them. And once I apply them and I see, oh, wow, that works, then I can write about it.
That's awesome. So you're talking about the activities, and you're talking about basically when you have an aspiration, you find a book that confirms that aspiration, and you read several books that confirms and helps you get there. Now, even backstage, you and I were having a conversation, and we were talking about how many self-help books that we read that align with the Bible.
Totally.
And we were talking about, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise. Let's talk more about that.
Yeah, this is fantastic, because this was one thing I didn't know yet, but practically the Bible is the best self-help book and probably the only one you need. But sometimes we don't understand it. I also didn't understand it completely. So I needed to read many self-help books. And the more I read and the more I wrote, I'm like, oh, I know this, I know that. I've heard that before. And then you say, wow. And walking among wise, it's really about this idea. And I've done that too on my way. And that's also because that's why I could make quantum leaps, because I was hanging with the people that were, first of all, with positive people around me, no negative people, no, because it's difficult enough when you're jobless and you have a wild dream. You know, the doubts come from alone, from self. You don't need people who tell you it's impossible. But then again, to say walk among the wise, when I decided what I wanted, I said, I want to earn my money with book sales, not with coaching, not with conferences, book sales. And then I looked at the people who were already doing that. And then I was learning from them. I walked now I'm walking among them. Then before I had to learn it also from books or from courses, but now I actually walk among them.
Wow.
I've become friends. So it's really like this. And I also want to say, see, it was fantastic what had happened, but it has been 9 years. So the factor time plays a role. So you have any dream right now, maybe you can't make it come true in 1 year, on 5 years, but in 10 years, almost probably, you know. And it's also funny on the way things change, because I remember the first time I wrote down my dreams or my goals for 10 years.
Write it down. Okay.
I never could imagine I never before did it, because I don't know, that's just stupid. I don't want to write down where I'm in 10 years. I don't know it. But then I did it, because like a game, where do you want to be in 10 years, right? And I wrote down, I want a boat, I want a house, like the one I'm in now, but this is rented, but there it is. I want one book, and I want to be accomplished in my line of work. And I want to be financially independent. 10 years ago, this was further away like the moon from the earth. But already after 8 years, I was like, okay, wow, I nearly got it, everything. Just the financial independence, not fully yet, but I'm on the way, you know? So that's still better than ever I could ever imagine. And then things happened, because I said, I want a Porsche car. I want a big house. And in the time I said, no, I don't want to own a house. I rent. I'm very comfortable renting, because I'm more flexible, you know, and I can move, and I don't need a Porsche anymore, because it would bore me after a month. So if I want a Porsche, I can rent one for a week, and then I will be tired of it anyway. And right now I don't even have a car, because where I live in Hungary, you don't need a car in the big city of Budapest, because they have fantastic public transport. So you go adapting, but still. Imagine I wrote this down 10 years ago as a jobless man with nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, so we do have some great comments. Miss Natasha M. Rivera, yes, the Bible is the best self-help book. Yes, the Bible is the best self-help book.
Yep.
Write the vision and make it plain. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, write the vision, yeah.
Yes. Now you were talking about, because again, backstage we were talking about that you are in a mansion. You are on vacation in Florida, and you are taking time to visit us here in a Happy B&E Village. You also said that you're from Hungary and you travel all around the world. So you're using wisdom and saying, hey, you know what? Because I travel all around the world offering inspiration, it's not necessary for me right here, right now to purchase, because I can rent and do just fine. Now, the people who are tuning in, you were talking about that you lost your job and you were jobless, and you were talking about it was challenging and you were writing the vision. The people who are tuning in, they're tuning in for some inspire. They want to be inspired. They're tuning in for inspiration. What would you say to somebody who is listening to our broadcast right now, and they're at a job that they're not super happy about, and they have that desire inside of them to do something different, but they're a little bit nervous? You were talking about writing it. Let's go a little bit deeper.
A little bit nervous is good. I think they will be scared as hell, probably, because I would have been. And I have to tell you, I'm glad that I was fired, because I didn't have the courage to go by myself, because I had the savings at that time. I had savings so that I can live for 2 years. I had everything in place, but I was still scared. And then I got fired. And I'm grateful to my boss, because if she wouldn't have fired me, I probably would have lived a life in quiet despair, to not say a miserable life, I would have gone on. So it's very difficult to me to say to people now, wow, you can do it and everything and leave your jobs and stuff. So the most reasonable thing is start it on the side. So if you are in your job, your 8 hours job, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, and you want to do it, start it on the side, because the pressure is not so good. Because for me, it's very easy now talking about it because everything turned out fine. But I can tell you it was not fun for the first 3-4 years because there's a lot of financial pressure. I was burning away my savings. I was burning away a life insurance that I just cashed in. And then after the 5th year, it started to boom, like it's just, you also need a little bit of persistence and perseverance. So my inspirational thing can see, okay, start something on the side. You still have time on the side. And if you say, I don't have time on the side, then get up an hour earlier. Then you have 1 hour more, right? So we start there, but go for your dream. If you want the super stress, the fear and everything, then leave your job. But it's not going to be funny. And many people don't make it. We always have to see when you become an entrepreneur, when you start a business, I think only 10% of the businesses survive the first 2 years. That means 90%. So the deck is stacked against you. Nevertheless, you can do it. But it's not all going to be party and fun, So, but I mean, inspire you. I can inspire you. Go after your dream. You can do it. Now you can go the stressy way and leave your job, and then it's going to be enormous pressure. Or you say, okay, I'm going to start on the side. I'm going to work on my project the weekends. I'm going to find 1 or 2 hours a day working on my project, and like this, and then you can build it up, and there will be a day when your side hustle will equal what your job gives you, and then you can say, okay, now I leave my job. So that's a little bit my experience. So I was under enormous stress, and but Wendy, and you know it, and what's the learning of that? When you have to take a decision and you don't take it and you postpone it, life will take this decision for you. And in my case, and then or you get fired by your job, or there's an illness or an accident or whatever. So I try now to make the decisions even if they're uncomfortable. But in that time, I was too cowardly. And then my boss took the decision. Thank God she took that decision.
Yes. And I love your transparency, because what happens is a lot of times we have our viewers who see the real, when everything is happy and everything is fun and the lights, camera, action, everybody is shining. But a lot of people don't realize the work, the effort, the time, the blood, the sweat, the tears that happens behind the scenes. So I appreciate you sharing the transparency of the journey, that, you know what, you did it. You were let go of your job. You said, you know what am I going to do? You cashed in your life insurance. You cashed in your money, and you continue to chase your dream and run as fast as you can. So I love the fact that you understand the importance of surrounding yourself with wise people, surrounding yourself with things and people that are feeding that gift that's inside of you. I love that.
And it's also self-regulating, because many people, once you become an entrepreneur, or you have bad times, many people will turn away from you. And that's good, because then at least you know who your real friends are. And I always remember, because I talk about this quite frequently, my mother always said, so who are your friends now? And I said, it's the same guys like 20 years ago. So those people, your real friends, will always be there. Everything else passes. People come, people go. Later, new people come into your life. I have met fantastic new people, and that's awesome. That's your tribe then. But it really also shows you who you can count on. So my tribe is my friends are pretty close, but I know I can count on them. And that's also a very nice experience of all this. You will see who are your real friends, and then you go with the wise people. You go with that who think alike. You motivate each other. You know you can do it, and like this, you elevate one another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Iron sharpening iron, and also realizing as we go higher in our calling that some people will not be with us. The same people who started with us may not be the people who are in the middle of the journey or even in the end. So thank you so much for sharing that. You're giving us lots of nuggets and lots of tools just to keep us going. And again, we appreciate you tuning in. Now, you being a bestseller, there are people who are tuning in right now and they want to know the ins and outs of publishing. So if someone desires to write a book, now you're talking about surrounding yourself with wise people, reading books, focusing, working hard. How would someone get started? So they're reading books about writing a book. They're surrounding themselves with people who are authors. What would the next step be to get started? Because they haven't even started the process.
Start writing. No, but
start writing.
But the thing is, even before the starting writing, because there are so many wrong images about being a writer. You know, when you see it on TV, it's mostly the guy who goes to a lake house and drinks whiskey and smokes, you know, like a trucker, so that he can. And it's not like that, actually. So, and I didn't also know that, but when I got into when I read about how do you write a book and everything, so the first thing is actually many times you make a. So I tell you what I did. I took 2 days.
2 days.
To think, what do I want to write about? From all the books I had read, from all my coaching training, what do I want to write? And then I had about 106 points. That was for my first book, 30 days. And normally I wanted to call 30 days, I wanted to call it 101 things you can do while you're waiting to win the lottery. But because that's the thing, you know, people are waiting to win the lottery, but if they're waiting for 5 years to win the lottery, but if they would actually do the exercises, I won the lottery now, but not the national one. But I mean, in my life, I feel like a lottery, you know, right? So, and then you write your book. I'm a big advocate of self-publishing. I wouldn't be here. So I was rejected from every Spanish literary agent. I lived in Spain at that time. I was rejected from many publishers. I have one book published by Spain's #1 publisher, Planeta, huge group. It's like Penguin, Random House, or something like that. Every time my sales come in, I want to cry, because traditional publishing just works differently, and it's just my lifestyle wouldn't be possible because also most of the authors that I know that can live from their books are self-published authors, because there you take care of everything. You write your book, you find a designer for your cover, you find a freelance proofreader who fixes it for you. You publish with Amazon, probably, because that's like the biggest, let's say, biggest library in the world, biggest bookshop in the world. And then from them, you learn how to market books. So it's a process, but it's fun, and it's really because you can outsource everything. But I can tell you, I know millionaires. I know millionaire authors. I'm not a millionaire yet, but hopefully soon. But I know millionaire authors. They're doing their own ads. They're doing their everything by themselves, because everything you outsource, you lose a cut. Mm-hmm. So, and at the end, you will be such an expert, you will know everything. So you will say, okay, no, I'm doing it myself. Also, you will know that nobody does your advertising better than yourself for books, because you know your books, you are the authors. If you make a mistake that costs you €1,000 or dollars, it hurts. It hurts. If an agency makes a mistake that costs you $1,000, they don't care, because it doesn't hurt them. Mm-hmm. I make a mistake, it makes ouch, and then I try not doing it anymore. So it's a world. It's a whole different world, but it's a fantastic world, I can tell you. And everybody who's interested in writing a book, just read up on it. There are some great podcasts, Joanna Penn, The Creative Pen, or The Self-Publishing Formula. Those are 2 English guys. I was following them for a long time, and there you get all the information you need, and then you just get to it. It's what we said before also, taking action. You can read 10 books about writing a book and watch 10 YouTube videos, but as long as you don't start this, and it's always uncomfortable, we know it. The beginning is always uncomfortable, but when you start, then it starts building.
Thank you so much. So again, happy BME Villagers. I hope you brought your pen, because you're getting tons and tons of nuggets on how to get started and how to stay motivated. And Marc, throughout our conversation so far, you were talking about roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock
Yeah.
after roadblock. And you even said that you tried to go with a larger publishing company. You were able to get in with one large one, but most of your revenue is from being self-published. Now, when people are hitting these roadblocks, because you talked about walking with why, staying motivated, when people keep hitting these roadblocks, they keep standing up, they keep getting knocked down, and they stand up again and they get knocked down, and they stand up again, they get knocked down, and they stand up again and they get knocked down. What tools would you give them? Because it sounds like even in spite of everything that you were going through, in spite of all the challenges, you just kept getting up.
Yeah, that's
That
just like
fire
wise
inside
men,
of you.
like wise men say, just get up one more than you fall, then you will always be fine, right? So
Yes.
you fall down 7, you get up 8, and what helped me was, of course, always there's always someone that has already it has already happened. So imagine I was jobless and I was thinking about writing a book. So there was this woman in Britain, right, J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. When she wrote Harry Potter, she was jobless. I was like, okay, so then I can start. Then I didn't sell. My books didn't sell in the first 6 months. Or I think I sold around 240 ebooks in the first 6 months. And then I heard an interview of Paulo Coelho from The Alchemist. He wrote The Alchemist, 65 million copies sold. And he was talking to Oprah. And he said, Oprah, this book was a failure. It didn't sell any copies in the first year. And I thought, oh, wow, I already sold 240 copies more than Paulo Coelho. And so there was always something to keep on hanging in, right? And it's really like that. And what Paulo Coelho said, I also took it. He said, but I wrote this book and I wrote You Can't Get Up. So I couldn't give up. And I thought that too. I said, yes, Mark, I wrote so many things in my book. So I can't give up. And then there's a great phrase of Thomas Alva Edison, who said, the easiest way to succeed is just always try one more time. And you cannot imagine how many times I tried one more time. I think 20 or 30 times. Just one thing. January 2015, I sold 8 books. Eight books. So that was actually the moment where you could say, okay, Mark, it was nice try. Obviously it doesn't work, so go look for a job again or something. And then I said, no, I'm going to try one more time. And I was studying, and I knew that there's one promotion called BookBub. And it's really, when you get in there, you can get 30,000 downloads of your book, right? And then I applied and I got in. And in 2 days, I got 38,000 free downloads. And they were free. I gifted away 38,000 books. But afterwards, how Amazon was set up, when it went back to paid, suddenly the sales came in, and it was the first time I could really live off my books. I made like $2,000-3,000 a month for many months, so it was fantastic. And that was 2 months before I nearly wanted to get out, to just give up. And that's why I always say, never give up, never give up. The miracle is just around the corner. You just don't know which corner, but it will come. And there's also a nice phrase who said, there are miracles. You just can't count on them, and you can't count on them. You have to keep working, keep doing. But I believe in miracles, and I have seen small miracles all the time, so.
I love what you said already. Like I said, you see your books right here, and they are truly an inspiration. Something that you said that really, really, really ignited the fire in me, and there's already a fire, but it even ignited it bigger, was one more time.
Yeah,
just get up one more time. Just push one more time. Just persevere one more time.
Exactly. I have to say something also, because self-reflection has always to be there, because if you do it one more time and you're going in the wrong direction, it doesn't help. So, because, when you row in the wrong direction, perseverance is wrong, because you get further away. So you always have to do this checks or something, but your gut will tell you. Your gut will tell you. I mean, I had all the odds against me. Imagine me jobless, and I tell my friends, I'm going to write a book, and then I'm going to get many sales on Amazon, and then I'm going to live from my books. I mean, they thought this guy has gone completely crazy. Now they admire me, because they say, I can't believe it. You said it, And I said, I was so convinced. I don't know what rode me. I don't know, but there was just this belief, and belief is also a very strong thing. And then just every now and then on this way, when we do one more time, always check, am I still in the right direction,
And if you're not in the right direction, you want
adjust,
to
exactly.
adjust
Boom,
to
boom,
go
boom.
in the right direction. I love what you're saying about the strength of the village. Throughout our conversation, you're talking about the strength of the village. Whatever situation that we're in, there's someone around us that we can learn from. So I love the fact that you went online and that you were finding different people and you were utilizing different resources and you kept saying that one phrase, one more time,
One more time,
one more time, one more time. And that already, that's a powerful phrase, one more time.
Yes, it is. It is. It's one of the most important things that kept me. So many times it was proverbs who kept me going, or little phrases, quote from somebody. I remember when I started, I had many fear quotes and doubt quotes on my computer because I was, of course, full of fear and doubt. And then you look at the stories of people that have overcome this fear and the doubt, and maybe you look back in your life and remember when you have overcome fears and doubt and it worked out well, and this makes you stronger. And that's also the great thing. Whenever there comes a roadblock, it gets easier and easier because you already overcame so many. It's just one more, and fear gets less and less. So fear, for me, it never goes away. I'm always nervous. I published 13 books. I'm now with number 14, and still it's like, will I like it? But then you just do it, and then you will see what people will say. So fear and doubts will always be there, but you that's also another thing. Act in spite of fear, act in spite of doubts.
Yes. And I love what you said as far as overcoming fear, and that it still comes, you still feel a little bit nervous, but one of the tools that we can utilize is reviewing our track record. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous. I already published 13 books. 14th is coming around the corner. I'm a little nervous, but you know what? I did it before.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it again. So I love the fact that you encourage us to go back and review. So when that fear tries to come and those voices try to come and that doubt tries to come, we surround ourselves with the strength of the village. We utilize our tools and we watch the people who are where we want to be. And then we also review our track record. I love that. Mm-hmm. Now, you're such an inspiration. We were basically having this conversation backstage, and it was just like, it was so meaty, and I appreciate it. What motivates you to offer all of this knowledge to the world? Like, you just openly share your techniques, your ball of energy and inspiration and knowledge. What makes you so willing to share? Because again, you said that you gave away many books, which catapulted you to where you are right now.
Yeah, I don't know, really. I think I'm selfish. I know if I give out good comes back to me, No, and it was really, yeah, I just, when I wrote my first book, I didn't think, I want to get to millions of people. I just remembered the people in the supermarket of my village that every Friday had the same conversation. Oh, I hope I win the lottery. The life is shit, but if I win the lottery this Friday, then everything will be fine. And I'm like, no, guys, no. And then I wanted to give them, at least the people, I wanted to give them something, an alternative. To say, okay, here are exercises. They are proven to work. If you want to improve your life, do it. And then I just became like a thing, because then I wrote about productivity. So I wanted to share it again. At the end, I want to share. It's not I don't want to leave a legacy, for example. It's not my motivation, although probably I'm leaving one and it's nice, but it's not my main motivation. My main motivation is, as you said, to share, to see, look, it worked on me, so it can work on you. And maybe now that I'm talking and thinking about this great question you asked me, maybe it's, and I go deeper. I said, I think I was always a guy who just wanted everybody to be happy, Yeah. And I have been happy most of my life. I always wanted to share that. In the school, it was the class clown. I was the class clown. I wanted to make them laugh, everybody. Also, in my first job, I was the funny German. It's always good if you're a German who smiles. You're always an advantage because nobody thinks Germans smile. They think we are all very serious and don't have a sense of humor. So I always go in there as an underdog and can make everybody laugh. And then, so I guess I just want a better world, and just people. I think every person deserves a fantastic life, and it's also sometimes people don't understand the Bible, because I for a long time didn't understand it. So you give them something else, and it's like with me, through the self-help books, I understood the Bible again in a very different and a very much more profound way. So
yes, our Bible is truly our roadmap. It is our antidote. And you were talking about reaping what you sow. Again, tying in the Bible, you reap what you sow. So you were giving, and you were given from your heart, and now you have the abundance coming. So that is wonderful that is your motivation. So I have a question for you. So you wrote all these books, you're successful, you're a bestseller. Let's talk a little bit about that. So you shared about what your process looks like as far as you start writing, you take 2 days and you think about what you're going to write. What does that process look like from start to finish? About how long would you say it takes for you from the very beginning of you writing to actually self-publishing? About how long do you think that would take?
Out of my first book, it was 30 days, it was 3 months.
3 months.
So I took like 1.5 months to write it, and then the editing process. I have to tell you, I mean, this once you know self-publishing, to upload the book, it's like this. I once made a video of it. It's 7 minutes.
Wow.
7 minutes to publish your book in Amazon, right? Writing the title and everything. Writing the book was 6 weeks, and I said, okay, I'm going to write 2 hours a day from 6, or no, even 3, from 6 to 9, or 2,000 words a day. So my books have, they had 40,000 words. Now I'm down to 25,000 words. So actually I could write a book in 14, 15 days, right? Then you give it to the editor. That's like another 2 weeks. You give it to them. It comes back. And then maybe you send it to them once more, and it comes back once more. At the same time, you already can outsource your cover. You do the description. Now with ChatGPT, everything just got so much easier, because ChatGPT writes very good book descriptions. Like when I started, I had to, it took me like a day to write a book description, you know? And now it's like you say, hey, ChatGPT, here, here's the information. Write me a book description of a best-selling book. And then it does it in 1 minute, you know? And then you have to adapt it. You adapt it in your language, of course. So you put you again in this machine-created thing, but it saves a lot of time. So that, and then so basically, look, now I'm writing a book since February, and I think I need another month to finish it. But actually, I could finish it in 2 days, because it's like I want to write maximum 3 or 5,000 words more. So I could actually do that quickly. But I'm just, you know, with success, which is amazing, also comes a little bit, and I'm very tempted to that. There comes, how you say it, a little bit of laziness, you know, a little bit of complacency. So that's what I'm struggling with. I'm not struggling anymore with the fear. So I'm struggling with, okay, you know, I can do it, but why not? You know, the books are selling. If I make 3 ads, money comes in quicker than with my book, because with a book, I don't know how it will sell. But if I make a new advertisement, or 5 new advertisements, which takes 15 minutes, I know I will see that pretty quickly in my. So those are the little struggles. But for you who are starting, I think 3 months is a good time to set yourself. Tell it, communicate it. That was a big trick. I said in my Facebook, I said, okay, I'm starting. It will be done on the 30th of June. So I thought it will be published on the 30th of June, and it was ready on the 30th of June.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I published it at the end of August, because July, August are not good months to. So for me, the end of August was great to publish it. So, but it's much more overwhelming than you think. You can actually write a book pretty quickly.
And again, this ties into the power of the pen, because you're writing it down, that you're having these ideas, and you're taking these ideas and you're putting it on paper, and you're designing a plan. You're saying, okay, I gave myself this amount of time, this amount of hours to do this task. So talking about it is one thing. It's good that we think about it and then we talk about it. But then after we think about it and talk about it, we have to put it into motion. So I love the fact that you're giving yourself timelines to ensure it's actually done.
And now, right now, with what you said, it became clear to me why I haven't finished my book yet, my new book because I didn't give myself a time. I'm like, well, you know,
Just learning.
see. So if I set a time tomorrow, what is today? June, we are in June. If I would say, okay, but now again, I say, okay, now before August, I don't have to publish it because August is a good time to publish. So I have 1-2 months, but I will set myself a time now and say, okay, until then it has to be done. And it will probably come out at the end of August.
And that's awesome. So setting a timeline and sticking to it. Setting a timeline and sticking to it. Keeping that mindset. Let me try one more time. Let me try one more time. Let me surround myself with wise people. Let me surround myself with people that I can learn from. So I love the fact that you're sharing so many tools, and you're sharing these tools not just for someone who's writing, just someone to be successful in their life. Tying things back to being a writer, because all the books that I've read are amazing and they're all around self-help, which are my favorite books. What's your favorite book to write? They all seem to be self-help, but do you have a specific type of self-help?
It's so difficult because, I mean, it's a lot of fun. One leads to another. So I will tell you. So 30 Days was my first book. I wanted to give tools to people to improve their lives. Then I wrote my second book, was actually a book about writing a book, where I describe all the process, how it was, because I discovered so many things. I made a lot of mistakes. I was scammed a lot of times. So I wrote a book for people to not be scammed and to see how it goes. Then I got into productivity, probably because I was struggling with productivity. So then I wrote the productivity book. Then I caught on with happiness, the scientific studies of happiness, which are amazing. And it says, okay, if you're happy, you will be more productive. I said, okay, then I have to look into this because that's even better. That's like a booster for the productivity book. And like this, it went from one book to another. So my favorite books that I wrote was, of course, 30 Days, because it was the first one. Then I have a translator in Japan who is a genius. He discovered 30 Days, put it in the Japanese market. And I always wanted to write a book about self-esteem, because self-esteem is so important. It's like actually also a basic pillar of our success. Everything is easier when your self-esteem is all right, and everything becomes more difficult if your self-esteem is on the floor, right? And he told me also, the Japanese translator said to me, yeah, we need the Japanese people in his vision didn't have self-confidence, right? So write a self-esteem book. So I wrote this book, and I love it because it helped a lot of people. And it's very funny because I wrote it and I had Spanish women in mind when I was writing it, because in Spain still there are many fantastic high potential women, but because their mothers told them something 25 years ago, they don't go get their full potential, right? They're like, and then I wanted to help those women. And at the end, it became a phenomenon. It's my book that now sells most, because it seems it's good for everyone to have a little bit self-esteem. And even for me, it was great because I struggled with low self-esteem during many years. And it was like also I was kind of healing myself and also describing how I heal myself. So that's also a book I love. And then my last book I wrote is about purpose. It's about finding your purpose. I think it's my best book. And it's not a commercial success yet. I have to do something there, but for me a special book because I was without purpose until I was 40. I always struggled. I was so happy. I know people, they know with 20, they knew what their purpose is. And they knew it. They never had to search for it. They just knew it. And I said, oh, guys, you are lucky. I didn't have it with 40. And that's the funny thing. Look at this. So what's your purpose, right? And we always look for our purpose. And I said, what if you already know your purpose? And you just not have the courage to admit it? Because now comes, when I was 23 years old, and I was confronted with this question, what's your purpose? And I once had the courage to answer it, at least. I said, oh, I would like to write a book. I would like to be like Tony Robbins, I would like to write a book and motivate people and inspire people. And then right away, my low self-esteem came and said, who are you? You can never do it. Forget it. Go study, write a job. So then when I was jobless with 40, I asked myself this question again. And it was the same answer. I want to inspire people. I want to write books. I want to maybe give conferences. And I said, wow, 17 years ago. So maybe we don't have to search for our purpose. We know it already. We just have to listen. And so, yeah, that's why. And then this book, I made all this journey again. I also said, yeah, you can. So when you read it, if you are 20 today and you read this book, you can, because of course it's also, again, a very practical book with exercises. So you can do the exercises now. Or you can do like me and do a 17 years detour. Not a problem, because these 17 years were not lost. They made me the person that I am today. They made me wiser. So everything is fine always. And there's another, I think, this is another quote I have, and I think it's from Paulo Coelho. I always imagined life like that. You know, life is like a railway track, right? And then it starts going in different directions. But I think at the end, it all meets again. Yeah. So whatever way you choose,
you're still going to get there.
Everything will be fine. And this is really something that gave me comfort and helped me a lot. Like, whatever you do, it's going to be fine. I mean, don't kill anybody, but good things. Whatever you do, whatever choice you make, at the end, it will be fine. Yeah.
All things working together for our good. Now, you were talking about the book that your friend in Japan assisted with, and then you were talking about the self-esteem book. What are the titles of those two books?
The self-esteem book, that's the of my Japan, it's Love Yourself First. It's called Love Yourself First.
Okay. Now, is that also in English, or is it just in Japanese?
Also in English. It's in English. So when he translated to Japanese, but the English is always mine. So he was a great inspiration. He told me, write this book, and I function like that. For me, it's a lot easier that somebody tells me, write it like this, and then I write it, because I had this self-esteem book on my mind. I just didn't start it. And then I'm very good. So I'm even better in writing when somebody gives me already the chapter. So I told him, okay, I'm going to write you that book, but give me 150 chapter titles. And then he gave me the chapter titles, and then it was easy for me. Then I looked which I like most, and then I started writing. And that's also why ChatGPT is so good for me, because now I can tell ChatGPT, I want to write a book about that and that. Give me like 50 chapter suggestions. So my writing process has become a lot easier. Okay. I still do the writing, but all this other, I think it's like half of the time now, right? Because it's a little bit dangerous, because I don't have to think so much anymore. For the writing, it's good. So I also say, you ChatGPT, you know, where does it go? Because you remember when you remembered all the phone numbers of all your friends? Mm-hmm. I remember phone numbers from 30 years ago, but I don't remember my mom's handy number, you know? Mm-hmm. But because the mobiles came. Then maps. Do you still remember how it was to plan a trip without a map? Today you take away Google Maps from me and I'm lost.
Yes.
And now with ChatGPT, it's really the next level. If you use it too much, you probably don't think anymore, because you don't have to think anymore. It tells you everything, right? Mm-hmm. So a little bit like everything with measure, right? It's the measure that makes the poison, as we say. I don't know if it's European or worldwide proverb, but it's like, so balance at the end, right? And yeah, that book, Love Yourself First. And then I wrote another one. You have it, the People Magnet book. That was the next one. Pure common sense. So also a lot of myself in this book, because also my Japanese translator told me, write a book about that. I said, okay, give me. But now I was noticing, because this book didn't sell for a couple of years, and now it's flying off the shelves, especially in India. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening? I mean, it's a very common sense book. But I get a lot of mails from young people that thank me, because it seems what for us is normal, small talk and stuff, for them it's not normal, because they grew up with the messaging and everything.
A different
So
time.
now and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's awesome. So that's kind of inspiration.
Yes.
I didn't think of that when I wrote the book. I just wanted to write a book about human relations, but now it's bringing me joy.
I love it. And I love what you were saying about our purpose, how the purpose is inside of us already. And sometimes we realize that at a later time in our life. And no matter what we're doing, everything always works together for our good. So I love the fact that you're so authentic and so transparent about your story, because that's how we motivate other people. We motivate other people by telling our truths, our things that are happening behind the scenes. And I also love what you were talking about in one of your books, People Magnet, how something that is common to us is not as common to other people. I read that book and I love that book. And you were talking about being genuine. You were talking about being sincere. You were talking about small talk. You were talking about paying attention. You were talking about being an active listener. Now, a lot of people maybe our age or older are aware of that. But as you were saying, some of the younger generations, when everything is with the gizmos and gadgets, some of the things, again, that are common to us may be uncommon to others. So I'm so excited that you're sharing that. And now, talking about books, I want to jump into this book. This was actually the first book that I purchased from you that you published. And I purchased this book because someone online, her name is Giovanna, shout out to Giovanna, she actually posted how this book inspired her.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, so she was on LinkedIn and she made a post about how much this book inspired her.
Fantastic.
And then guess what I did? I went out and I bought this book. And then guess what else I did? I bought this book for many, many, many people, and I shared it because the sky is humongous enough for all of us to shine. And when we're all working together and we're all healthy, we're all a stronger unit. So I'm going to get into this book.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for sharing it. That's how the success of a writer goes at the end. It's like one person buying the book and recommending it to their friends. And nowadays, thanks to the social media and Amazon ads, it goes faster, but it's still always, it's one reader to the other. And that's why I love my readers. And when you told me how many books you bought from me, and then I said, it's of course I will be on your podcast. Of course. It's the least I can do.
And I appreciate that. It looks like Naima Butler, she's a happy B&B villager. She said, yes, that book is such an inspiration. Matter of fact, I posted this book on Facebook and she reached out to me and she said, what's the name of that book? And now we have happy B&B villager Naima Butler who said, yes, this book is an inspiration.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you taking that time to invest in not only building yourself, but as you're building yourself and strengthening yourself, you're also building your community and strengthening your community. Because when you're healthy and whole, you're bringing that healthy and whole energy in those that you're interacting with. So I want to jump into this book because, again, this was definitely a wonderful book. Happy B&B villagers, if you have not already went out and purchased this book, get this book. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. This book is truly an inspiration. Let's jump in on just a few pages. I actually highlighted some insight on page 57. And this says, say no to them and say yes to yourself. So my question for you, Marc, is during the writing process, we talked about the process, we talked about writing things down, we talked about a timeline. When someone is writing a book, how can they say no to those distractions that are trying to get away as they're focusing?
They just have to. There's no special recipe. I mean, what I did, for example, when I'm writing, I just have a Word document open and my mobile phone cell is in another room. So you really have to discipline yourself with that. When you write in your office or at your home, you have to tell to your family, so mommy is going now to write 1 hour and then she will be back with you. I think the most important thing also, as we are already talking about that, the important thing is, so when you have your time for you, but then when you are with the family, be 100% with the family. So I am very good in compartmentalizing, or how that's called. Like, so when I work. But when I'm with my friends, with my family, I'm 100% fully aware. I'm there, I'm present. And I think when you do it like that, then it's also okay. Your family will give you that hour also to write. That this was more also what it also meant mostly for this, when you say yes to yourself, that I wrote in the book that I many times went out with friends, although I didn't want to. And that's nothing. So then when I started saying no and I had more time for myself, and then when I went out, I was happier. So, because you have to say yes to yourself. And for me, that was very difficult, but I learned it. And tying back into the business world, the more you succeed, the more no's you have to say. Or I don't know, or maybe it's the more no you say no, the more you succeed. I don't know which comes first, right? But it's a big part. But people, because when you value your time, people will value your time. When you don't value your time, nobody will value your time. So it's always coming back to us, like you said. Huh?
Yes, 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 yes. I so appreciate the wisdom that you're offering. And it ties into being present. So be present for ourselves when we're focusing on things that are important. Be present for our family. When we're there, we're right there.
Mm-hmm.
Be present for our friends or whatever it is that we're doing. Because when we're fully present, we're able to truly maximize on that moment. Thank you for that. I have a few more pages. So you got some good stuff in here. All right. So on page 118, you were talking about managing emotions. You were talking about perceive, use, understand, and manage emotions. Why is it important to manage our emotions?
Yeah, because as they say, never take a decision when you are super happy or when you're angry, right? Because mostly those decisions don't work well. So when we manage our emotions, so first of all, before that, I always thought I'm a victim of my emotions. I thought my emotions come, and I can do anything about it. And then when you start getting into this managing emotion, you notice, no, it's not emotion. There's still this space where I can decide, do I get angry now or do I let it pass? And so it's especially good when we take decisions to never take decisions when we are in a high emotional state. It's better to be, because what are emotions, right? Fear, anger, those are the negative. I don't want to call them negative ones, like those who are not so fantastic to have, but we have to have them because it's natural to have them. But it's better to not act on them. So that's where the whole managing the emotions process comes in. So when you are angry, know it. It's again, if you're angry and you call this person, it's probably not gonna work out well. If you are afraid, you probably won't do what you have to do. So about this perceive. So I get aware. Okay, this is an emotion, angry, but it's not. It's not me. It's only a part. So I'm not angry person. There's just this angry emotion. So what do I do, right? The first second is, why do I have this emotion? What happened? So I always, when I get emotional, I always look, what triggered me? What was it? And then you are aware, you know where it come from, and then you can decide. Yeah, exactly. So for example, I sometimes get angry, and then I decide to be angry because maybe in the anger in that moment has to show the other person that I'm not okay with what they did. So it's also setting limits, right? So it's not that that's why I don't want to call it a negative emotion, because it's not a negative emotion. It's an emotion. It's called anger. And it can lead to bad things, but it can also just be there to say, okay, here's the limit. Envy. I use envy. Envy comes up in me every now and then when I look at other people. And then but before it was like, and now it's like, okay, first, boom, perceive. Okay, envy. Second, why am I envious? Oh, he's selling more books than me. And then I transform it in admiration. And then I'm happy for him and say, wow, awesome. And then I say, what can I do to sell as many? What is he doing? And then we walking with the wise man again, right? What is he doing? What can I do? And then there's no more envy. And there's a plan again, right? So emotions, so we take them too personal. And I think, yeah, we have to learn to manage them. And they're just there. Emotions are just there. And it's not bad. And we don't have, the worst what we can do is oppress them, because then they will get stronger. We have to accept them. So if I'm sad, I'm sad. Then I don't say, oh, I'm happy. No, I'm sad. Then again, it starts, okay, why am I sad? What triggered me? And sometimes I know why, and sometimes I don't know why. And then it's the next. Then I have tools. Do I want to be happy now? Then I can go for a walk. I can practice gratitude. I can exercise. And I can choose those, or I can just say, no, I want to be sad today. and lie on the couch apathetically for 2 hours until I decide, okay, it's enough now. Now we're going to get a grip. But that is a lot healthier than if I would go to the mirror and say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. No, I'm not. So just, dealing with it, and it helps so much, and it transcends, it goes away when you do it like that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so powerful. Don't ignore your emotions. Take a look at your emotions, find out the root of your emotions, and make the decision. So that's kind of tying in the difference between a reaction and a response.
Yes.
I love what you're saying about anger. Anger is not necessarily a negative thing as long as you know how to manage it, because the fact that you display that you're angry, it showed them that they can no longer take advantage of you. So there are benefits to embracing our emotion with wisdom.
Every emotion has its task. For example, frustration usually is something to tell you, okay, you are capable of more. Mm-hmm. So when you just stay frustrated, never look at it, you don't move on. But if you look at it and say, okay, I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? Because I could write 2 books more in a year. Yeah, okay, why don't you do it, right? And then it's again, okay, do I choose to do it? But at least frustration shows there's something with that you're not up to your potential. That's the only task of frustration, to show you, and then you do with it what you want.
Yes. Oh, I'm having so much fun. So much fun. I got 2 more. Page 133. Become a receiver. Now your opening line says, do you find it difficult to accept a gift or a compliment? Well, this stops now. You have to become a receiver. It's very important to accept gifts and things with joy. And it's also the secret to getting more of what you want. If you get a present and you're saying, oh, that's not necessary, you are taking away the joy of giving the gift from the other person. And the same thing goes for compliments. Mm-hmm. How can we become better receivers?
Just accept it. I think that ties in with self-esteem, because it's like those are when your self-esteem is low, then you are mistrusting, right? You think, oh, they're just saying that to me because they want something or something. So we have to really open up, and really this about becoming a receiver is really like heal and be with ourselves and accept it and be open for more. It also ties in this. I don't know if you ever had that, but I had it very often when I was younger, when things were going well. And then there was a time when I said, okay, now something bad has to happen, because it can't be that that's things that are ingrained by culture or by education in us. And then of course you expect it, and sometimes, so somewhere in the last 10 years, I left this away, because I've been on a run. I can tell you, I've been on a run. Every now and then it's bumpy still, but it's like, but I don't have this. So when it started, it was going for months. This thought, oh, now something bad's going to happen. It was gone. I was like, why? Is there some rule that something bad must happen? No, it's gone, and it's gone on like the last 10 years. And I can tell you, I think I know what has helped with it. Gratitude. I think gratitude, when you practice gratitude, fear goes away. And I know there's a Netflix talk from Brené Brown, and she talked about that. She talked about fears, and she made 2 groups, and especially those fears, oh, everything is going well, now something bad will come, or blah, blah, blah. And then she said one group didn't have that. And when she looked closer, this group, they were practicing gratitude. So yeah.
And you outlined that in your book. I remember reading that. Reading that. Absolutely. And we're going to close out with one more, page 156. A random act of kindness every day. You were talking about gratitude.
The most powerful. This alone, if we get everybody to do it, including we have to do it first, of course. Yeah. Huh? But if we can be an example and more people can do it, this world will be incredible.
Absolutely.
And I have a very great story, because I'm here on vacation with my family. My cousin is also here. And my cousin, one day, he came with glowing eyes, and he's in his 50s like me. businessman, and he came and he was, wow, today the person before me paid my Starbucks. He had never, but he is a very generous guy, so it had to come back to him. But he didn't understand. He had never seen it. He doesn't read my books, this man. But okay, that's okay. His wife reads them. So, but and I said, yeah, that's paying it forward. That's a random act of kindness. It's fantastic, and
wow,
the world gets better just by that. Huh? So now he is doing good things again because he's so happy, and then he had now a chain of random acts of kindness happening to him. I'm like, wow, you are on a run. There's something coming here. Yeah.
Reaping what we sow and random acts of kindness. I had an amazing time with you today, and boy, does time fly.
Yeah, I could go on for another hour, but
Me too.
We'll do it again in a couple of months or so.
I would love to do it again. I would absolutely love to do it again. Now, my question for you is there anything that you may want to share that maybe we didn't discuss already?
No, actually not. I mean, if you want the practice of gratitude, like, do our listeners know what we're talking about? It's like writing 3 things down every day. I'm grateful for our chat today. I'm grateful for my computer that made this connection. I'm grateful for my internet. So it can be things like that even. God, I'm grateful for my mom, for my girlfriend. Every day. So, and now I already have said 5 or 6 things. With 3, you are already okay. And you're doing this every day for the next 3 to 6 weeks. And things will change in your life. It's amazing. But I get so many emails that telling me that. And it's scientifically proven. But for me, it's very nice to see it over and over again. So I had people who came to me in a very bad situation where I told them, look, I can't help you because I don't know what I would do in your situation. I don't know if I would be so in such good shape like you, but there was somebody in a similar situation and I told them too. So why not practice gratitude? Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Feel the gratitude when you're about these things. And then we talk in 3, 4, 5 weeks. And it was really then usually there come mails like, Marc, I don't know if I'm going crazy. My situation has not improved, but I feel so much happier right now. That's the first mail normally after 4 to 6 weeks. And then they keep going and then something amazing happens, So this is really something I would like to inspire everyone to do this because it's just amazing and incredible things happen.
Yes. And again, tying in the power of the pen. You specifically said starting with 3 things that we're grateful for every single day. Consistency. 3 things, no matter what the 3 things are, every single day. And then starting to build from that, but never stopping and seeing, because you just said that he was in the same exact situation, but he was able to manage that situation much better because he took the time to write down.
And it's good that you said it's writing it down. It's not sometimes people say, can I make it in my head? No, you write it down, And if you write it down in your calendar or something, not on the mobile, because this thing of writing does something. And there's even, I think I read in Scandinavia, schools go back from computers to writing because they noticed it's so powerful, the brain-hand connection, what's happening when you're writing something down. So thanks for saying that. Yeah, and then this practicing gratitude will be amazing.
Yes, and I love that.
Yeah, and it's like an antidote to everything because you can't be afraid and grateful at the same time. You can't be angry and grateful at the same time. So if you're doing that every day, your conscience will be full of gratitude and you will be happy. And of course, there will be still the ups and downs. They are normal, but it's just a different life. I can really tell you because I started writing it down in 2013. And look at it. It worked, yeah. And then I just wanted to say one more thing. So when you write down I'm grateful for, because only once it didn't work with a client and she was with me on Skype and we put it on and I saw her face and said, when did you stop doing gratitude? And she was like,
how did you know?
Exactly. How did you know that? I said, I can see it in your face. And then she said, because her face was not as happy as before. And then she said, well, because it didn't work. I said, how come? What did you do? How this works always? Why didn't it work? What happened there? And then she said, well, because I wrote down, at least I have a house. at least my kids. And I said, that's not gratitude, that's scarcity. And this works both ways. So it's very important to say, I'm grateful for, and also really feel that gratitude, and don't feel scarcity. Feel the gratitude.
You are speaking my language, Marc. I write every day. This is actually my special pen. It says wisdom on here. I don't know if it's upside down. And I have my special book. It's called a wisdom book.
Yeah.
And I write every day. And there's something about writing, the connection with your mind. I also feel closer to God. But there's so much power in the pen. So villagers, make sure that you are writing it down. Again, it's one thing to think about it. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to write it down. So grateful people are happy people. Happy people are grateful people. And if you want to increase your gratitude, as Mr. Expert Marc Reklau shared, write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day. Now, remember, you start at the tippy top of the line. I am grateful for, and then do your list. Be mindful of what you're writing. Your list are things that you are grateful for. So thank you for this tool and this tip. And yes, Lord willing, we will have you back on the show because there's so much more to explore. You have me charged.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. Now, Marc, we are talking about some of your free tools. You were saying that you had some worksheets available. Tell us a little bit about your free worksheets that you have available.
So I have worksheets on my homepage, marcreklau.com, and you just, if you sign up to my newsletter, you get them for free. And these are like the 5-6 exercises that started me. So there's something about values, like not moral values, but values, what moves you. There's something about goal setting, this thing, where do you want to be in 10 years? What do you have to have achieved in 5 years to be on the way to your goal in 10 years? And those things, and a self-reflection questionnaire. So those are the things that are the basics of my last 10 years, of my journey of the last 10 years. And they really work. So I want to share them.
Yes, you have an amazing story. You are truly an inspiration. And happy BME villagers, as soon as this disconnects, you need to go to Amazon. Everybody has an Amazon account, and pick up all of his books.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
We support you, and we want to follow up with you because the village is going to further support you. So we want you to check your account. We have each other's information, so keep me updated.
Yes.
Happy BME villagers, this is our assignment. Go to Amazon.com and purchase his books. You will be blessed. You will be a blessing to him. And again, we keep that positive vibration going strong. Woo-hoo. All right. And in closing, keep shining, keep
climbing, keep moving,
keep striving. Yes. And today is already great because you showed up. We are so grateful for you tuning in, and you have an amazing day. Take care. See you later, villagers.
Bye-bye. Hello.